Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to this week's Ponderous Wednesday. For those of you who don't know or are new to the channel, Ponderous Wednesday is all about taking an interesting or thought-provoking topic and having a good old natter about it here on YouTube to stimulate some interesting discussion down in the comment section. And this week, as you may have guessed from the large pile of fractional platinum and gold coins we have laid out on the table, we're going to talk about fractionals and whether or not they are a good buy. I'm going to present hopefully the pros and cons as to some of the reasons why it might be good and why it might be bad as well. Now, just want to caveat that by saying this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you whether you should or shouldn't go and buy platinum in fractional form or gold in fractional form. That's going to be your decision, and you need to do as much research as possible before making those financial decisions. Now, some of you out there might be thinking, hang on, I recognize these 10th ounce platinum coins, and that's because I'm filming this video over a week in advance because I wanted to put these fractional platinum coins out there to kind of show them and also talk about fractional platinum and whether or not that is a good buy. So I'm filming this a week in advance. After I'm finished here, I'm going to be going and packaging up all of these platinum coins to send them out to their lucky new owners. Now then, what is a fractional coin? I guess it's an interesting one to define because a fractional, I would say, is anything less than 1 ounce. But there are probably some people out there who would say that if you stack kilo gold bars on a regular basis, that anything underneath a kilo is a fractional. So 100 gram would be a tenth of a kilo, so it's a fractional. So it's going to be down to individual definition and preference as to what you would constitute to be a fractional. But I would personally say that anything that's underneath an ounce is a fractional. And you can see here the size difference between this Mexican pesos, which is nearly 1.2 ounces, compared with these teeny tiny gold coins. And of course then we've got the tiny ½ gram of gold here. So this whole coin, 37.5 grams, so you could fit nearly 75, I can't do maths, about 75 of these in there. So really interesting to see the size differences. Now, of course, with size difference comes the biggest thing of all, which is going to be premium and price on top of what you pay for the metal. Now, the smaller the piece, the higher the premium on the coin or the bar or whatever it is you're buying. And I think that's the most big, or that's, in my opinion, the biggest con to buying fractionals. If you can pick up a fractional at spot price, then I think that's a real bargain. And in fact, this particular coin I picked up, when I picked it up, it was at a coin fair, it was in a mismarked bin, and I picked it up for, I think it was like 90% of spot when you work it out. It was really cheap, it was definitely mispriced, but I took advantage of that dealer error and took it off his hands. But yeah, so here's a 10th ounce platinum Britannia. So obviously you're going to pay more if you buy 10 individual ones of these than you are if you buy a full ounce of full platinum Britannia. That's normal though. You tend to get kind of higher prices on smaller items. If you think about it, it takes a little bit more time, energy, resources to perhaps make the smaller items than it does to make a lot of bigger items. It certainly takes longer to make smaller items. So there's that to consider, but obviously on a grand scale, when you're minting and manufacturing thousands upon thousands of coins, it's not really that much more. So predominantly you're paying for the privilege of being able to buy it in a fractional form rather than having to spend all that money at once. Now, why is that important? Well, obviously premiums are a very important thing when you're looking to purchase anything really, anything silver or gold or platinum. And the lower the premium that you can get on something, often that's the better. But some things will hold their premiums for a very long time and do very well. Fractional gold is one which has, in my opinion, the most struggle in holding premiums. It has to be a very desirable piece, and you have to have a look at it in that perspective. When I started out, my eye was caught by the 20th ounce Perth Mint 2 Lunar series, and I collected those, and I went back to backdate them, and I picked up the mouse and I think it was the mouse and the tiger, and they were very, very expensive pieces of gold when you put that in perspective to their weight and the price that I paid for them. And those hopefully will hold their value very well. The mouse certainly should do anyway, but it is a risk, and when you're buying these coins at that huge premium, you've got to factor in whether or not they still will have that premium, and it is a gamble at the end of the day. Now, the advantage of being able to buy a fractional piece of gold means that you can actually take advantage of a certain price at a certain time. If you are keeping a wary eye on the markets and suddenly you see a dip and you want to buy something, but you don't necessarily have the funds together to be able to buy an entire 50 pesos Mexican gold coin, you can of course pick up a fractional piece of gold. And that's one that's really important, because you'll have to excuse me, I'm losing my voice because I'm filming this the same day as all of those unboxing videos. So I've done like 5 separate unboxings and this video all in one go. So if I lose my voice completely, you'll have to excuse me. But my point is that if you have that opportunity to buy gold and you can't afford necessarily to go up and buy that entire ounce of gold, you can pick up a fractional piece along the way, which is really good. Also, buying fractional gold along the way as you go as a stacker is also a very good way to continue saving money month by month. If you're the kind of person that you can't trust yourself with a bit of money in the bank account and you need to save it each month, it might be worth just biting that bullet and paying those premiums to save that money and have it in that physical gold form rather than sitting there not doing anything. Of course, as well, you're protecting your currency and your value of your currency and your buying power as you go along. And in my opinion, if you're stacking for 30 years' time, then paying small amounts of premiums now is not really the big problem. But if you are on a slightly higher budget and you want to look to pick up some gold, stacking in a larger denomination is probably the best value for money, I would say, but it does come with drawbacks. So you've got here this wonderful 50 pesos coin. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I love it. It's one of the coolest pieces that I've got. Love the edge lettering around it. Absolutely amazing. However, it's a very big, expensive coin, and if you wanted to sell this very quickly, perhaps you would get your spot value back from a dealer. That's great, but you certainly wouldn't get any premium on it. You would, I think, be able to get some form of premium if you took this into a local coin store. Maybe not a huge premium, but certainly a relatively larger premium per ounce than you might for a big gold coin. And that's simply because the dealer or whoever you're buying it off has to lump out 1.2 ounces worth of gold in fiat rather than paying a 1/10 ounce, for example. So that's something to consider. Secondary market stuff as well. If you're looking to sell these, and I see quite a lot of fractional gold coming up on the silver forum every now and again, and it does hold premiums pretty well. I think a lot of people will be happy to pay that premium for a certain fractional coin if that's what they are looking to collect. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean you're still getting the best value for money. That said, selling a fractional piece on a secondary market is a lot easier because you don't have to ask somebody for 1,200 quid for a Mexican pesos like this. You can sell this for 50 or 60 quid or whatever it might be, or 100 quid if it's a 1/10 ounce coin. And that gives you a lot more flexibility, I think, as well for your stack generally. So if you are very heavily invested into precious metals and you want to keep that momentum going and still keep the flexibility, then obviously having fractional stuff gives you that flexibility to sell it off as and when you might need it. So if you were heavily invested in it and you had to sell some of your metals, if you only had giant pieces of gold like this, then you wouldn't be able to sell off just a part of it. You'd have to sell off an entire coin to pay for something. Whereas if you've got a whole array of different smaller pieces, then at least you can hedge your bets a little bit. The other good thing about this type of thing is that you can get yourself into different metals at a cheaper way. So, this is a 1/10 ounce Britannia. It comes with a bit of a premium compared with the 1 ounce coins, but not that much more. And it gives you that opportunity to divest a little bit more into different metals. You can have that diversity within your stack. This 1/10 ounce coin here is worth probably about 70 quid. I think the people who bought it paid for it. So, it's good to protect yourself and have that different variety of metals within your stack, but at the same time not going whole hog and buying a full ounce of platinum, which gives you a lot more exposure than if you just buy a 1/10 ounce. Because of course the goal here is if platinum was to skyrocket, then you'd be quids in. However, if platinum kind of ever stays the same forever and ever, then you're probably not going to be getting much value out of it. But with this, you've only spent 75 quid, whereas with a full ounce of platinum you've spent 750 quid or something, and that's quite a lot to have locked up in an investment. So there we go. That's my thoughts on fractionals. I think personally there is a space for fractionals within my stack. I do have a number of fractionals. I have smaller denomination gold, silver. As you can see, I've had the 1/4 ounce gold Queen's Beast series, as well as larger 1 ounce Britannias. I think having that array is really important to protect yourself, protect your your investments if you needed to sell something. Otherwise, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you have lots of fractionals? Do you live by fractionals? Of course, one of the great things about fractionals is if there was kind of an economic collapse and you needed to go down to the store and buy some food, you're not going to get very far with a 50 pesos coin. It's unlikely that somebody will be able to break that up and do some change for you. But if you have a 0.5 gram of gold, that's a great thing in a barter exchange. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Please do comment down below. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you do hit that subscribe button, hit the alarm bell, because then you'll get a notification when I upload future videos down the line. Otherwise, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.